Red edition, Brazil. There's a man there, a bad guy. He broke into a bar near his home several months ago and he stole a television set. Several nights later, he got thinking, hey, that was easy. I'm going to do that again. This night, though, he went down the chimney. And as he was going down, he kind of slipped and stumbled a little bit and his gun went off and he shot himself in the foot. And he thought, you know what, this ain't working tonight. I'm going to go home. So he did that. But he didn't know, of course, that he left a trail of blood and the police came because the alarm had gone off. They followed the trail of blood home, and guess what he was doing? He was watching TV. The same television set, of course, that he had stolen a couple of weeks before. Now, how do you like this one coming out of London, England? As the scriptures tell it, Jesus expelled money changers from the temple to cleanse it from the den of thieves, right? Well, now that's echoing into the modern world. There's a bishop in London. He's an archbishop, actually. His name is Justin Welby, and he's recently made news because he has declared, hey, we got to get rid of the money changers effectively in the modern world. Those would be the guys that are at the payday loans because they're taking advantage of the citizenry and the interest rates are too high. And I'm unhappy and I'm on the bandwagon and we're going to get rid of all of these bad guys. Okay, you with me so far? So he was doing this, and then one day his superiors called him in and said, hey, what do you do when we being the Church of England, we are the major investor in this company? And the guy, of course, the Archbishop, was shocked, as were many of the people in the congregation and so on, but they said, hey, it's being done anyway, we might as well make money and we can do God's work with the money, and that's our deal. So kind of get over yourself, will you? We say we can't tolerate bad things, says the Archbishop, after all of this, but you got to live in the real world. So he just demonstrated there that he's rigidly flexible. Aboriginal communities / Indian communities in Canada and of course in the US too, but this particular story is about Canada. Recently an 11-year-old native boy, Indian boy, committed suicide. Terrible tragedy. It happens with white kids too. Of course it does, but you know what? It's a tragedy, and in particular now we're focusing on the Indians because of the high rate of suicide. They're upwards to 8 times higher than those of white people. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, violence, rape, sexual abuse, of children, suicides, isolation. Indian youth kill themselves at such a higher rate, as I've already said. And politicians, religious leaders, Indian citizens, white citizens, mental health professionals, all people have worked on this for a good number of years, and no one has been able to sort it out. And I don't have an answer, and I wish somebody would find an answer. I guess that's why we elect politicians. They're supposed to look after the citizenry from the perspective of mental health, I guess, certainly to supply, places and things that will help people, and they've failed miserably. Somebody has failed miserably here. I feel for all of them. Indian law probably is an issue because, if you do a bad thing to a child, you sexually abuse a child, there's something along those lines, you really don't get punishment in the normal sense. Certainly not like your white counterpart. You might get a year in prison or 18 months or some such, and then you come back and the court gives you your children back, so you get to do it again and again. So certainly the laws and the system, right, the dynamics of the system need to be rejigged, I would say. Here's a legal first, I think, certainly for Alberta. Canada, a man has been charged for chronic road rage. He's recently had 9 incidents. my, that's 9 that he's been caught with or about, so that would mean 99, with regards to how many weren't reported, how many people have experienced road rage with a bad guy and then run and phone the police. Probably not that many, because it's easier just to drive away. He's a threat to public safety and he's had his car seized. What about his driver's license? They haven't taken that away. They've seized his car, they're going to give it back. 9 times he's been charged and pleaded guilty to all 9 and said, hey, I got road rage, and he jumps out, and here's a case, and he's pounding on people's cars and different things, and here's a case back to that if you had guns in cars, somebody might shoot the man. Hey, maybe that'd be a good thing. Hey, don't know. Now, let me keep you abreast of things with 2 stories. Here's a lady that's begging for bigger boobs on the side of the road. Who would have darn bucket? This is in Florida. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and she's begging on the side of the road. She's not homeless or anything along those lines. She just has a big sign that says, pardon me, I want bigger boobs because I'm not happy with the ones I have, and please donate. A lot of people are in fact doing that. There's some saying, here, let me pay. Now in Paris, There's another breast story. There's a lady there. She's a nurse, actually, and she's provoked all types of controversy now in France by posting an online ad that she's offering to breastfeed babies for parents, notably gay men who are unable to do so, thank goodness, denounced as illegal and health hazard by experts. $140 a day rental of the woman's breasts is thought to be the first such anywhere in the world, and the woman's defense is, hey, what's your problem? I have milk and they have babies, leave us alone. And the government is a little bit stumped. They don't quite know what to do, but they're working around it, and they're trying to fix things in terms of how to deal with the law. Okay, I had more I'd like to say, but I'm not going to touch it. Let me end today with a story. Here it comes. A former sergeant in the Marine Corps took a new job at a high school. He was a teacher, and just prior to going to work, he had had an accident, and he had some issues with his chest, and he had a plaster cast on. It was small enough he was able to wear a shirt over top of it, and he came into class all dressed up for his first day, and the class was full of bad kids, right? And it was an inner city school, and they were ready for him, and they were looking for ways to torment him. And all of a sudden a wind came, and he went over to close the window, but on his way he picked up the staple. His tie was moving, and he stapled his tie to his chest. All the kids just shut right up, and everybody lived happily ever after. Y'all come back tomorrow. We're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.